What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow as well. I'm going to break down the PPI report that came out and why this is very important for the markets. I'm going to talk about the mistake I made in my previous video, as I did think that earnings was coming out very soon because many reports were starting to say that in big articles too. However, it turns out that's not actually the case. NIO did not confirm that. That was actually just false. So I want to just inform you that earnings is actually a lot later than tomorrow. NIO is gonna confirm that later, so please just disregard that. I'm also gonna break down some massive news that came out because a massive bank, a bunch of experts have loaded the boat on NIO shares. I'm gonna show you their filing reports and why that's big news before I end the video with what NIO put on their Twitter page. So I have a lot to go over. Before I get started, I gotta mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 10 free stocks, each worth up to $2,500. You could always sell these 10 free stocks for cash and use that cash to buy some NIO shares for free. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 2 weeks. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So in my previous video, I basically predicted that NIO would actually get a really nice run up to about 21.5, get a rejection off that and close around the 21 range, maybe a little lower. We ended up closing very close to where I thought we would, but we actually pushed up even higher than what I would have anticipated. We actually pushed all the way up to almost $22, so that is a pretty good sign for NIO. Now, one of the things to note is, do we actually have a gap down here? It looks like we're very close, and we do have a tiny gap back at 20. So I'm not saying that NIO does have to crash tomorrow or anything like that, but generally when we have gaps like this, stocks do actually come down before getting a nice bounce. I want to just put that out there, but as of right now, I'm not necessarily bearish for NIO. All right, I'm not bearish. In fact, I'm pretty bullish for just the next week or so before I do see a big turnaround in the markets. So I want to actually talk about why I feel that way. And I also want to break down some data. So I'm going to start off with the data real quick. PPI came out, it actually fell at 0.5% for July. It's actually the lowest that we have seen, the lowest increase since October 2021. And what's actually interesting to see about this is the year over year gain was, let me see right here, 9.8%. So it actually decreased. And this was no surprise. The markets knew this as CPI was down. But I wanted to call this out because if this number surprised everyone and PPI was really high, the whole market could have taken a huge hit. That's not what ended up happening. So that's a good sign. And I really hope that we start to see inflation come down from here. Now I want to talk about something else I mentioned. I did mention to you guys earnings was gonna, come out very soon. I was wrong about that. Right now, the date's just not confirmed. You can see right here, it's estimated to be around September. Other sources are saying it's gonna be around. Some sources are saying it's today, but that's also unconfirmed. NIO has not confirmed this. They didn't even confirm the date just yet. So it may be in a couple of weeks. It may be in a month from now. So just be ready for earnings. I did mention that it may not be the best earnings report because of what happened due to the lockdowns, but I want to put it out there that I did make a mistake. I apologize for that. Many reports like this are kind of like not spreading the right information, and we'll find out a little bit later for this. Now, I do have a big piece of news for everyone, however, and that is what just happened right here. It has been reported that JP Morgan added 1.4 million shares. It increased its holdings by 33% in Q2 of this year. That is huge news. This actually came out from the 13F filing report. They now own 5.6 million shares of NIO as of the end of Q2 of 2022. So just to make this clear, let me actually go down right here. You could see that there's this big increase in their ownership. If I go down right here, we could see as of right now, they have a big increase from the latest report that came out. They actually decreased their position during the first quarter of the year, and they actually increased it just recently. So very, very good news. So when did they specifically increase their position? Just to show you guys this, to give you guys a perspective, they did this during Q2. So as we entered Q2 right here, you could see NIO did drop down, dropped pretty darn low. It pushed up a bit, but then NIO started this downtrend. You guys can see this big downtrend. NIO ended up touching 11.67 in the month of May. So this is likely when they started buying those dips. They started buying up these NIO shares because they're very, very bullish. And I'm using this as a credibility mean because at the end of the day, if you don't want to trust me, if you don't want to trust everyone who's on YouTube, you could actually have some trust in the moves that they're making, because this is a major bank. They have absolutely well experienced, amazing experts working for them, and they chose to buy into NIO and increase their holdings by these dips, because they would only do this. They're not going to buy into NIO if they think it's going to crash in the future. They're buying it because they're bullish. They're very bullish for the long-term future, and they're basically confirming the things I've been telling you guys. I just wanted to put this out there for the naysayers out there, and it's really your choice whether you want to buy into this or not. I'm just, reporting the news for you. This is not financial advice, by the way. But anyways, I want to talk about something else that's very interesting. So NIO also reported this. On August 4th, JD Power awarded NIO with 3 major recognitions at their virtual award ceremony. So congratulations to NIO. They're doing a great job at really carving the future, and they're getting so many awards. They're getting so many big moves. We're seeing lots of eyes on them. It's amazing, amazing, amazing for what they're doing. So when it comes to the share price, this is what I want to talk about now. When we look at NIO, I'm noticing that there's this gap right here. If you look at the daily chart, we kind of gapped up a bit. There's a tiny gap back down to 20, so it is possible for NIO to come back down to 20, fill the gap first before getting a nice bounce. But if you look at the overall trend, let me show you this right here. Look at SPY real quick. Look at SPY. You could see on the daily chart, the SPY has been respecting a rising wedge just like this. Now, does this mean the SPY is going to run forever? Not necessarily. But does this mean it's just done for? And the answer is no. It has potential, in my opinion, to run to like the 430 mark. It's very possible. But if it does get there, if it can't break that, it's very likely it's going to start coming down and start filling these gaps. Once again, it may not start until later next week, maybe in 2 weeks. So I want to warn you guys a little bit early. I'm going to make another video about this later on. I'm just putting the information out there that as of right now, I still think SPY has some more room to keep going. And I do think it has the potential to push up more. That means that the whole market, if you look at the NASDAQ as well, NASDAQ was also a little bit red today, just like SPY. It does have that gap down there, but it does look like it's also in this rising wedge-like formation. It does look like it has a little bit more room if the volume could continue to remain at what it's at. And with that said, because it has some potential to push up, the market could still kind of like hold the levels it's at for some time. And we could see NIO made a pretty nice move up about almost 4%. This was bound to happen, very close to my prediction. The close was almost exactly the same, but where it actually went to was a little bit different. And when it comes to its peak, so let me actually close this right here. Whoops, sorry about that. Let me close this. And then I can actually talk about this. So NIO was in this downtrend, got a nice reversal, drop down, and now it's starting to respect a bit of an uptrend from there. I use a smaller time frame, like the 2-hour time frame. You guys could see it's starting to push up slowly. So we were actually dropping down. We started to find our bottom at 18.5, and we're kind of just, you could see how it's just respecting each of these support and resistance levels in different ways. Just like what I told you guys, this thing was at 19 bucks, right? It pushes up, it got stopped at 20.2. It actually gapped up above that, gets rejected off 22, which is the key zone I was talking about. If this thing actually broke to those levels, got rejected, came down, and where did it close at? My key support zone, or the key zone I was talking about, was 20.82. I'm sure you guys remember that from my videos. That's in the 20.8 range. That's exactly where NIO closed. So these support and resistance levels, they work to a T. Now, I'm a little bit somewhat bearish from the start of the day because we do have this tiny little gap here. I am looking to see NIO maybe fill the gap first before it gets a nice bounce. So let me fix the chart real quick. Give me 1 second. The chart's a little bit off, but I'm going to actually go over the support and resistance levels too. I'm going to talk about what I think NIO could do into open. So the gap is down around the like low 20s. I wouldn't be surprised if NIO actually turns red into open. We kind of like drop down like this, right? Just like this. And NIO could actually come down to either like 20, 19.5. We'll just say around like 20 bucks. It still is possible for it to like bounce right there. I'm going to look for a nice bounce and kind of a continuation of the uptrend. And after that, it could really go either way. It's going to be respecting 20.8 and 20 flat. It might actually turn green and start trading the 21 range again, right? Before it gets another kind of like a rejection off that. And hopefully we get a close around the high 20s, maybe the low 21 range. So I'm anticipating a move kind of like this. So why do I think this thing may continue to drop? We obviously have this gap right over here. We could get a bounce right there. If not, if we don't bounce off like 20, We could go as low as 19.5. Once again, I'm not going to guarantee that. That might be a little bit too bearish considering the nice move we made. So hopefully we see a move like this. Now, let's just say that my prediction is not like accurate. Let's just say it's wrong because no one can predict the market perfectly. What should you know as a NIO investor? Right now, we have the potential to fill this gap. If we do fill the gap, we could get a bounce there or down here. So that's why it's very important, to know support and resistance levels. All right. So right now, NIO is at 20.82, very, very close to where the key support zone is. I want to let you know that NIO is at support right now. If NIO pushes up, this thing's going to have resistance. The next major resistance level will be 21.5. We break that, 22 is going to be another major resistance level. If we somehow break that, I think we have a gap fill in the 22s. Once again, I don't know if NIO is going to actually, fill that quickly, but we could actually go as high as like 22.5, 22.7 around there. So I'm going to actually draw that out for you. That's just from my memory. 22.7, just around there. That's very close to where the gap is. But I don't see NIO going that high. I think it's unlikely, but it is still possible, right? That's why it's important to know these levels. Now, if NIO starts dropping, if NIO pushes up and then drops, 20.8 could act as support or resistance depending on where it's at. And if it drops below that, 20.2, the range around there, 20.17, 20.2, that range right there is going to be support. All right. So hopefully we get a bounce right there. We may not get a bounce because we have that gap a little bit lower. It could bounce off 20 flats. If not, it could actually go as low as 19.5. That's another support zone. Hopefully it bounces from there. If not, it doesn't bounce off there, 19 is where it could actually go to. Now, I'm not seeing it going that low. I would assume the lowest it goes to for tomorrow would be like around 19.4 to 19.5, hopefully. And other than that, I think it's still doing very, very well. So I do think it might have a continuation to the upside and fill the gap into the 22s next week. It's in a pretty good position if we do close above 20. So I'm a little bit more optimistic, and I'm more in favor of the bulls than the bears for NIO for next week. So with that said and done, I want to thank you all for listening. And always remember, it's just a short-term prediction. The long-term future is very bright as the company expands and has new updates to come. Thank you. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next video. NIO to the moon because the long-term future is bright, and peace out.